episode of Betty Adams Discusses. I am here with...
It's me, Grim.
Chapter 48 and 49. That was
That
was a ride.
They have been like so good. I mean, obviously I'm kind of biased because I'm in love with this manga anyway, but even if I wasn't, it's just it's just put together so well. Like the pacing, the panels, the amount of information you're taking in, it's just done all so well.
Yeah, the Matsumoto seems to really be what I guess they call the first beat, because the traditional story has three main beats. But Matsumoto likes to pick up the fourth beat where the status quo is turned on its head right at the end. And that showed up in the attack on Tachikawa base arc, where we were all set up for it to be a wind down arc, and where Kafka was going to get to shine by, helping with the cleanup. And
that's right.
Then, of course, the bomb, and he had to save the base. And then at the end of this arc, of course, everything was winding down. But I think we were more expecting it at this point. Something was going to go horribly wrong.
Yeah. We've become accustomed to that now as well.
Yeah.
Oh, there is... sorry, go on.
Kaiju number 9 pops up in the command tent. And we're assuming that's the main body or the alpha body, or at least the largest body currently active. Do you have any thoughts on where it was before? Because he clearly says, "I made it in time." Where was that main body, and what was it doing before the battle? Any ideas on that?
We're talking about the body that's now with Isao Shinomiya, right?
Because you have the alpha and gamma bodies that were that were basically distracting.
Yeah, they got squished.
Yeah, and then the decaying gamma body that microphone pops out of its eyeball and is talking to Kafka, and it says, "I made it in time."
Yeah.
And so clearly that indicates it was somewhere else doing something else when it got called back. So any idea where it was?
No, not really. I mean, I'm fairly certain that the body with Isao is the main body, but where it was before, I'm not 100% on. It could just be that it had been searching the whole time for Isao and number 2 specifically. Especially because he, when he turns up, he says, "I've found them." So that gives me the impression that he was actively looking. But if he was doing anything else specifically before that, I haven't really thought about it, to be honest.
Yeah, because the fact that he didn't have his main body there, and he was only mildly surprised that Gamma and Beta were defeated, suggests that the ants popping up was just like a feeler. And maybe he has other plans like that are going to happen at the same time. And maybe there are other attacks on bases going on right now, and we're just not hearing about them.
Yeah, maybe, because the way I see it at the moment is that, he put the ants and things out there as both a distraction, but primarily something to actually draw the defense force out. My thoughts are that because, he said that I found them, he's obviously actively searching for them. My thoughts are that he put those plans into action to cause a situation where he would be able to search for, what he was searching for. So, yeah, I mean, they're very well. I mean, if they did, that would be crazy. But there very well could be other things going on at other defense forces to try and cause a similar situation. So perhaps he was, as a main body, stationed somewhere central or somewhere close to all locations, so that he could get there when he knew it was at the right location.
So one thing that this chapter kind of answered, I'd had a question because, I theorized several many chapters ago that Kaiju number 9 had multiple bodies.
Yeah.
And I'd got the idea that pretty much every body we'd seen up to this point had been disposable, because we saw the very first time we see him, that body just turns to dust. And then we see him at the application arc, the one that revives the Hanjo.
Yeah,
it shoots Kikoru and then just turns to dust. That's why he didn't remember her when he sees her the next time. That body never. It appears to me that the Kaiju number 9 individual bodies have to make it back to a central point to transfer information.
That makes sense, and that's definitely
And
been established because we know from beta and gamma that they don't necessarily know what's going on in their, each other's vicinity. They have
yeah,
a
so
connection that they can talk through, but they don't necessarily know what's going on at the time.
they're flash drives with limited Wi-Fi compatibility.
That's a great way of looking at it.
And so and I was pretty confident of that several chapters back, but then I remembered what happened after Kaiju number 8 saves Aharu and Reno. It looked like that body just completely turned to dust, but then we saw a very badly injured body limping away. I'm like, wait a minute, if that body turned to dust, how could it also be limping away?
Oh, right. Yeah.
And so my theory about them being like disposable flash drives was kind of shook at that point. I'm like, well, I'll wait and see what happens. Then 48 and 49 happened. And if you remember during the combat arc, Kafka Kaiju number 8 punches Kaiju number 9. Kaiju number 9 disassociates. And then Kaiju number 8 gets distracted by the other Defense Force officers showing up. And he and the audience are looking away from Kaiju number 9 for a distinct amount of time. Then Kaiju number 9 deliberately calls Kaiju number 8's attention back to himself. Kaiju number 8 was focused on the other Defense Force members. The Defense Force officers were focused on Kaiju number 8. Kaiju number 9 could have just slunk away, but he deliberately calls Kaiju number 8's attention back to himself and has to distract Kaiju number 8 by attacking the Defense Force officers. So I think what happened was Kaiju number 9 split at that point, sent the main body off to take the core and memories back to whatever central location he has, and put a decoy body up on the roof. Because remember, that body was actively regenerating.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then it just poofed away to dust.
Yeah.
So it's really, really interesting the way Matsumoto is layering this information. And I think Matsumoto has a respect for his audience and their ability to follow his hints.
Call back on things.
Yeah, and he's being really cagey about how much information he lets out at any given time.
It definitely feels like he's purposely keeping track of the things that he said previously so that he doesn't sort of make any kind of weird plot holes or mistakes.
Yeah, I am just really enjoying Matsumoto's writing.
Oh, same. Me too.
Yeah. Screamy scientist guy.
My favorite person. Oh man, I love that.
That was an interesting. It's interesting how Matsumoto's using this character and building this character up, and it could be just a useful secondary character, a prop that walks, basically. Yeah. But I don't know. Okay, here's a question.
Okay.
Where is Kaiju number 9 getting his inside information? Kaiju number 10 attacked the base while Mina was out. Kaiju number 9's very first appearance. Kaiju number 9 knew that the Defense Force had captured the live Kaiju and was going to use them for training purpose. It can't be a coincidence that Kaiju number 9 just happened to break in and muck it up when Kokoru and all those elites were there.
Please don't say Screamy scientist guy.
Well, it doesn't quite make sense because Kaiju number 9 was reacting in ignorance to things that Screamy scientist guy should have known.
Sure.
And because the way Kaiju number 9 works, he has those tendrils going everywhere underground. It could be just he has like listening devices, and that would explain the kind of patchwork knowledge, because Kaiju number 9 did not know who Kaiju number 8's human body was.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's right.
So, and if it was a direct, like, if Screamy scientist guy or any human in the Defense Force was feeding Kaiju number 9 information, that would have been important bit of information number 1. So, but just because one Kaiju number 9 body showed ignorance, we can't assume that Kaiju number 9 does not have that information at all, because we've had no statement that every single Kaiju number 9 body gets all information possessed by the central body. So, I don't know. Maybe it is Screamy scientist guy.
Oh man, it could be, but I don't want it to be.
Matsumoto has set it up so that, again, there's that we don't know how much Kaiju number 9 knows.
Right, of course.
And Kaiju number 9 is awfully talky for a supervillain.
Yeah.
And it does not make sense that Kaiju number 9 would be just spewing vital information constantly.
No.
So maybe he's very good at lying.
Maybe, yeah.
So do you have any idea of where that information is coming from?
Honestly, I feel like if it did come to it, I would totally buy into it being Screamy Scientist Guy, but I just don't want it to be. I love him too much. He's like my favorite He's like my favorite background character of anything ever.
Yep. Yeah. And there's just so much packed into this manga.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think. Oh, one thing I want to talk about actually is kind of what might happen. No, not what might happen, but what almost feels like the inevitability of Isao Shinomiya's impending death. Because, like, for me, for chapters now, I've been seeing sort of little things within the writing or the panels or the way things are talked about or displayed that all just feels like foreshadowing leading up to an eventual death of Isao Shinomiya, like specifically that character. I talked about it in my latest video about certain panels within chapter 49 that just gives you that impression that it's very much trying to build up the impact of his death it's coming.
He finally praised Kikoru.
Exactly.
I think
that's what I
mean.
Things like that. Point. Yeah, 100%. Things like that. We had that was chapter 48. We had was it 48 or the one before? Anyway, previously 48. We had the praise for Kikoru, and she showed it in her shock how rare that moment is. So that was a huge tell. And then there's other little things like I think I went back further than that. So I think it was chapter 44 or 45. So when Kaiju number 9 first pops up and Isao is about to it looks like he's about to jump in, and his second Itami stops him. At that point, that's when he starts to explain how he's been using the Kaiju number 2 suit and weapon. He's been using the numbered weapon a lot lately, and it's been shading years off his life. He knows that continued usage could be lethal, and even the lethal is bolded as a written word. They bold that word. So that was so many chapters ago. That was like chapter 44, I believe. So even from that point within this arc, it's almost like they're saying he's going to use that suit again really soon, and he's going to be using it too much. And now I'm just kind of like, especially at the end of chapter 49, with how he got clapped so hard it's obliterated one of his arms, but he's still going to fight with everything he possibly has. And now it feels like it's getting to a point where he will not care about limits, and he'll just keep going whether it kills him or not. And I just feel like all of these little moments, all these panels, words, explanations are just kind of just foreshadowing for an eventual death. As much as I don't want him to die, it just feels like.
And then we don't even know what his relationship with Narumi is yet.
Like, yeah, I mean, they've hinted at this kind of father-son relationship that they have, but they haven't even had time to sort of show us how deep that really goes.
Yeah. There's just so many hints of future character development, like Deputy Director Itami. I cannot wait to see that man go feral on the battlefield, because you can just see that. You can just see it in his eyes. He's a mad lad.
Yeah, he definitely looks like he's seen some stuff.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's the chance he could be the mole.
The positioning was interesting because the general director never looks at him because he knows that Itami's got his back.
Yeah.
And then Kaiju number 9 crops up right behind him. And that immediately made me think that Itami might be the mole or the wire that Kaiju number 9 has tapped. Mm-hmm. But nah, Kaiju number 9 just cropped up right behind him. Mm-hmm. So thanks for coming on. I have so much fun.
Oh yeah, me too. I do every time. Thank you for having me.
All right. Plug your plugs.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you if you've still been listening this far. I'm Grimsabr. You can call me Grim. I have my own YouTube channel where I talk about anime and manga all the time. Lots to do with Kaiju number 8. So if you are a fan of the series, feel free to hop on over and check out my videos. I do a lot of chapter reviews. So yeah, other than that, thanks for joining us.
All right. Peace out, my wonderful viewers.
Humans are weird. We took a vote, and humans are weird. I have the data. 2 books in a series of human absurdity. Go check out these short story collections. What will our little green friends think of us when we finally do make it to space? Find out the answer in 2 books of human absurdity. Humans Are Weird, We Took a Vote, and Humans Are Weird, I Have the Data. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and Google Play.